Hello, Glue Trooper. Well, hello, Glue Troopers. Max of Max's Models here, and I'm doing a second retake. I got a box today which I've already opened, and I did video opening it, but it's from Chuck up in Michigan, and he sent so much details that I wound up just reading it and getting some stuff backwards. So I thought I would just do a retake. I got the air conditioner going because it got so warm in here without it. So please pardon the background noise. Anywho, one of the things that he sent that is really cool that is this. He sent me a Micromark plastic weld and a holder that he made, along with a pen to apply it and a pouch for the pen. And I've never actually used this plastic weld. He's adamant that this is not glue. He also included some rather in-depth instructions on the use of it, and this is something we might talk about tomorrow at the live stream. And I thought I would just add this as an opening to the video, because you're going to see I get a little confused once we get into the video, and I got a few things confused because I was holding up the wrong thing. Some of this stuff I've never used before. So now I'll show the original video, which won't have the air conditioner going in the background, but I just want to clear that up. So if you guys see it and cringe and go, "That's not the plastic weld, you idiot," I got it figured out, but I'm still going to read the instructions some more, and we'll probably talk about this tomorrow also. Guys, hope to see you at the live stream, and now on with our regularly scheduled programming. One more side note, I just noticed this Koku fan book that he sent me. This is a Japanese books on all kinds of cool stuff, and these F-106s on the cover are the Florida Air National Guard right out here at Jacksonville. One had their F-106s. That's the blue stripe on the tail with the lightning bolt. That was the 125th Fighter Interceptor Squadron. All right, now on with our regularly scheduled programming, for real this time, for realsies. Well, hello Glue Troopers, and welcome back to the TARDIS. A couple of things going on. I didn't get a whole lot done today because this morning I was didn't get really chance to free up till getting close to lunchtime, and my wife and I saw that there were a few episodes of Vikings that had popped up, and that wound up being our binge for the day. And by the way, if you watch that series, I think recent scholarship says that they misinterpreted Ivar the Boneless is actually properly translated into Ivar the Hated. So that explains a lot. So we are looking at a couple of little advances that I made today. I got these KLM 747 little Revell kit taped off and got the black lacquer coat for the Alclad put on. I watched a video that someone had sent to me and on using these lacquer paints, and it's really educational. I'll put a link below. I knew there were different kinds of acrylics, but I didn't really understand what was different about them. Apparently, acrylic is the pigment. You guys probably know there's three components to any paint. There's the pigment, there's the base or the bond, and then there's the bonding agent. And the acrylic is the type of pigment that's used. And you can have a water-based acrylic, or you can have a lacquer-based acrylic. They're both acrylics, but they're different. And then of course you get into the enamels. And as I'd mentioned before, acrylics, generally speaking, it just sits on top of whatever the medium is, whereas enamels bite into it, which is why enamels give such a better permanent paint job that doesn't scratch off easily. But if you have to remove it or strip it or something, it can be a lot trickier, because sometimes you actually have to remove plastic because it bit into it. So you sometimes get that rough finish, and that's a super high level layout of, but acrylics have the advantage of having, I believe it's a tighter molecular pattern, so they can be thinner and get into little nooks and crannies easier without the thickness that enamels sometimes require. So like I said, I'll link that below. But I was out here playing with some of the different paints, and like I said, I got the Alclad on. I finished up the little Matchbox Romanian Messerschmitt today, and at one point I was trying to find something to make it just go ahead and add a little flair to it. I thought I'd put an antenna wire on it, and believe it or not, the best thing I found, dimensionally speaking, was one of my own hairs. Blonde. It looked good. Only problem is that as soon as you know, the hair's not perfect, well, at least mine's not perfectly straight, and as soon as the glue had hardened. It had already started to bow as soon as I trimmed it to size and let everything harden. It came back and it started to bow. It's too bad the dimensions are right, so I just took it off, but I was one with the model. But the little Matchbox kit is what it is. It's a fun little kit. It's not the greatest 1/72nd scale Messerschmitt you're ever going to find, but it's certainly a fun little kit, and makes a nice looking little product when you're done. One of the things about these road builds, of course, is that since I pretty much pre-assemble everything, that makes painting more difficult because things like propellers and stuff in a lot of these kits are permanently affixed, especially on the older kits. But one more reason to maybe consider making my road builds jets. You see, yeah, as you know, most, especially the older kits, the more basic kits, you have the prop shaft that has to go together with the propeller when the sides go together. And yes, you can slip some paper in there between them sometimes, which I did with the Hawk 109, but it was really snug in a couple places. It was just an extra. It's much easier to pre-paint a propeller and a spinner and everything. So, but the road builds are just to pass the time, and they're fairly basic kits. And I have a lot of fun with them, but I'm just pointing out that if I wanted to take one of these kits and really do a top shelf job on it, it wouldn't be something I'd be building on the road. In fact, I yanked that Heller 1/72nd scale Messerschmitt, the two-seat Night Fighter, Nachtjäger Messerschmitt ME262 off the shelf that was sent to me by one of you fantastic glue troopers, probably motivated by having just read that book by Mackie Steinhoff. And so that will, I'll probably get here and start working on that tomorrow. I might even start working on it today. Pretty straightforward kit. There's several different sprues, but none of them have too many parts. It's not overly detailed. The thing that's going to be tricky on that one is going to be the paint job. Now, being a jet and ME262, I'm more inclined to want to make it wheels up and put it on a stand. I think it just looks better. I could put the drop tanks on it, but somehow to me, the ME262, this is me personally, everybody's got their thing. To me, the ME262 looks best clean. Wheels up, no external ordnance. Of course, this one will have the antennas. You know, I might do something a little bit different though. Well, Watson's Wizards actually brought one of those back, and there's actually some footage of it. It's the one that had the nose gear collapse at the landing. I think it was it Trondheim during the ferry flight, and there's actually, you can go out and let's see if I can find that footage and show it. I used it in my video on Watson's Wizard, so it's there. But I don't know if the gear, the ME262 had a notoriously weak nose gear. And in fact, the Americans yanked the nose off of one of them trying to tow it with a tractor because they hooked the tractor to the nose gear and tried to pull it, and it just came off. And they didn't realize that with the ME262 to tow it with a tractor, you have to put safety wires that go from the main gears to the nose gear, so you're pulling on all three wheels at the same time. The nose, because remember, the ME262 was originally a tail dragger. The nose gear was an afterthought. Well, this one was landing after the Americans got their hands on it, and then they fixed it, but it actually landed, skidded, the nose gear either collapsed or didn't come down. And of course, this thing's came across the fence pretty hot, and it broke the nose and landed with skidding down, and it caught on fire. But they got the fire out, and they saved the airplane. They patched it up, and they continued to ferry it to where the little British aircraft carrier brought it back to the States. And it was an American-made not escort carrier. I guess it was a little semi-disposable aircraft carriers here. The Navy made so many of that we had given to the British, and it was the British that brought all of our captured airplanes back for us for reasons that I discuss in that video. But that's kind of a long story, but it kind of boils down to the U.S. Navy was mostly in the Pacific, and the assets they had in the Atlantic theater after the war were very busy and bringing GIs home and everything. And you tell them, hey, we want to bring all these captured airplanes home. You know, the pressure's off, the war's over. And they're kind of like, yeah, we'll get to it, we get to it. And the only people that had a ship available were the Brits. So we made a deal with them, and they couldn't. According to Watson, in the book I read about American raiders, the British could not have been more accommodating, even when we basically stole two Arado 234s from them. And that's not a joke. Watson went up there and he wanted some Arado 234s, and he knew that maybe that was what Trondheim had to do with it. I think they were up in Trondheim, or it was one of somewhere up there in Scandinavia. And he basically typed up his own order saying that he was to be given these airplanes, and the RAF had like 3 or 4 of them that were in good condition. He went up there with a German pilot and some street maps or road maps, and they just BS the British, and who couldn't have been nicer, and let them take off with them. As soon as they took off, the phone rang. Like, hey, don't let them take those airplanes. They're not allowed to have them. That hasn't been auzed, and they were on their way. And of course, that was the Royal Army or the Royal Air Force, and the movement was done by the Royal Navy. And left hand never talks to the right hand. So there you go. But they were wild times, huh? Back then, what makes a funny story, and oh, Yank, you clever Yank, today would be a international felony. They'd send Interpol after you. But anyway, enough about that. You know what? That's one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow. Watson's Wizards and that stuff, because you guys, that's some interesting modeling. Because if you're tired, if you're just looking for something different, here's a chance to put German aircraft and American markings, or British markings for that matter, because the Brits had some ME-262s and some Arados and a whole lot of Japanese aircraft. Picture of 2 Japanese, was it J2M Raidens in formation, and British markings with the big technical branch initials painted across them. And that's okay. There's one thing we're going to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a long one because partly because I've been gone so much, but also lots of stuff to cover, but also I happen to just have a lot of time. Starting early, Saturday, 1 o'clock East Coast time, because I know some of you guys are saying where you live, it's a little 2 o'clock's a little too late. Also, if you want, we might do another one on Sunday. Probably wouldn't be as long, but just for folks who maybe can make Saturday and not make Sunday. I mean, this is all in good fun, guys. If you got something specific you want to talk about, just bring it up during the live stream or send me some information now. Leave a comment to this below. If I get a chance, I will look into it. Now, on to more interesting stuff. I got a box today. Actually came in yesterday from Mr. Nichols from Plymouth, Michigan. So, let's see what's in here. As usual, I have cut it, have not opened it. Oop, models, good stuff. Oh, wow. Here we go. Hi, Max. Enclosed are some tools, materials that I hope you will find useful. Thanks for all the wonderful videos, Chuck. Well, thank you, Chuck. This is a packing slip, and okay. Well, let's just look at the models and see. He's got a whole bunch of stuff, and I think he's got everything itemized. Wow, okay. On top of the box, we have another Crown model. This is a 1-144 Dassault Breguet Mirage F1C. So that'll make a nice little build. Never built a Crown kit before. Now I got my second one in what, 2 weeks? Oh, it's still taped up. I'll look at it later. And LS, not sure what the scale, a MiG-25 by LS, and LS did the 2 Peggy bombers up there and some of the other aircraft I've built. Good quality kits, but really snug fits. Sometimes you got to file a few things down. And I think, oh, there it is, 1-144 scale. Okay. Might have to make myself a little 1-144 MiG and Mirage going after each other, something like that. The MiG streaking overhead at the edge of space with the little Mirage going, I'm going to get you, and which he's not going to do. And, and perhaps he could be chased by this Crown 1-144 MiG-21. I'm seeing a theme building here. Nice thing about these little 1-144 kits is you can make yourself a nice little diorama with a whole bunch of planes in a relatively small area. Same reason people, use N-scale trains instead of O-scale. All right, let's see here. Oh, speak of the devil, Heller kit. This is the, and I know I'm gonna say this wrong. I've never said it right. 1/72nd scale Dassault or MD 450 Ouragan. Now this is kind of the French F-86 or F-84, and it's I think it predates the Mystère. I think it was like France's first real Cold War jet fighter. This one on the box art's in Israeli markings, which would be a nice way to mark it up, because I don't have any Israeli models on my shelf, and the only Israeli kit I have in the stash is that Israeli Sherman. And Airfix Multi-Role Combat MRCA. Okay, this has got to be an old kit because they're not calling it the Tornado here. I'll have to look up, and if I can figure out what this kit was while I'm editing this, I'll put it up on the screen. But this looks like a vintage kit, and it just says Multi-Role Combat Aircraft 1/72nd scale. And it looks like somebody's already opened that, and yep. Well, oh, okay, it says Panavia Tornado on the instructions. Okay. So, interesting. It doesn't say Tornado on the outside of the box. Okay, well, cool beans. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, wow, building supplies too. All right. Yeah, can always use that. Aha, the Sepicat Jaguar. This one's by Frog. Flies right off ground. Now that's some pretty serious action art there. And let's see. Okay, now we have some other stuff. Well, Loctite super glue, which I have used on many a model. Actually, he has it here. Loctite. This is about the best CA glue in the world. Yes, yes, it is. Medium body, set time, good size. That's actually the kind of the stuff I often use, especially on my balsa kits. And yes, it does work on balsa. Okay, ceramic tile. Speaking of the ceramic tile, it makes a great cutting board. Decent alternative to self-healing mats for cutting decals. You can also place wet decals on office finish, softening them. I've been using it as a palette for mixing small blobs of paint and figures. Okay, let me get that out and take a look at that. Okay. You know, I have leftover ceramic tiles from our bathroom remodel. I never thought to use them like that. Good old-fashioned ceramic tile. Thank you. I hadn't thought about that. Thanks, Nicholas. Okay. Let's see what else we... Okay. Okay. And just... Vallejo products. There are 3 bottles of Vallejo metal finisher for you to try. This stuff just requires thorough agitation before using. Can be airbrushed straight out of the bottle or on with a brush for touch-ups, highlighting on small parts like oleos. Strongly recommend that you put down a base coat of semi-gloss black, okay, that's like the Alclads, before airbrushing. Gives the depth more finish. Also recommend top coating with clear gloss and full guarding before you try to mask overspray any decals. Yeah, that makes sense. No danger of explosion from flammable vapors. The liquid mask compound does require mixing, but the colorant tends to settle, so I would shake it up. I'm sorry, the liquid mask compound does not require mixing, but the colorant tends to settle, so I would shake it up. This stuff is amazing. Been using it to mask canopies. I've used different kinds of liquid mask. Let's see what we got here with varying results. I believe this is probably the Vallejo you were talking about. I don't think I've ever used Vallejo paint, so this will be interesting. Okay, careful. Steady, lads, steady. Okay, this is, no, this is something else. This is Professional Plastic Welder. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see here. Color-coded handles by Grit. Oh, well, we're going to get that in a second. Yes, Vallejo metal color acrylic. Oh, I can definitely use a surface primer. All right, I'm gonna liquid mask. Okay, this is a different liquid mask than the stuff I've used. Metal color, airbrush colors. Okay, I'm gonna have to, that might come in handy since I'm planning the bottom half of that 747's metal. I might be able to use some of this on different components like the engines and stuff and different sections of the wing to maybe add a little contrast, but it'll be fun to work with. I think that might be tomorrow's the live stream, but when I get back to doing full day work on these models, that might be the project. Okay, I'm gonna have to reread all your instructions here. Diamond Jewelers files. Diamond Jewelers files. These are extremely handy, multiple shapes and grits. Okay, that's the thing that said multiple grit. These are tools I do not have and can definitely make use of. There they are. And you can see they got the little filing ends on them, different grits and everything, and different colored handles to help keep them straight. Ace Clean Release Masking Tape. Dun dun dun. That's like painter's tape. Let's see. There's the kits. We talked about Ace. Koku Fan. These were the same hobby shop in Dearborn where I bought the photograph. Oh, okay. The photographs, and found where some of the depths articles were in English, usually on the back. The excellent illustrations plans have some World War II material. I hope you can find them useful. I'm sure I can. Summary MSDS on plastic modeling cements. Okay, that gets into details. I'll probably edit some of this out because I'm reading this as I go. Chuck, you have given me homework, which is beautiful. Oh, there's information on back. Revell Contact Professional Mini, butane, liquid special chromium. Okay, that's going to take some studying. And the Koku fan. These are magnificent Japanese books on aircraft that have fantastic photographs in them. And he said that, and there is a lot of English stuff in here too. And Mitsubishi 96, okay. Never have too many books on airplanes and models and all the great stuff that we all love. This is a real treasure trove, Chuck. All right, I cannot thank you enough for this, and I'll go over this in more detail later. So, the ancient ruling pen is a mechanism for using a plastic welder and wooden block to hold the bottle. So this is the wooden block to hold the bottle. I spilled much of the stuff I used before. I made a holder. Dip the nib of the welder and touch the point to the seam where you're trying to weld. I have to do a little bit of study on this so I get the process straight before I go trying to use it, because that looks pretty sophisticated. Well, thank you very much, Chuck. I see I have my homework cut out for me. Well, guys, that's what I got for tonight. I hope you're having a good evening. Hope to see everybody, as many as possible, at the live stream tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Guys, take care. And as always, Model On.